Hello, I'm the Pink Phantom, and this is my podcast. Join me as I delve into the world of games and gaming, and especially old school RPGs. Together, let's voyage into the astral realm and check out my Phantom thoughts. So, we last left off on Foundations, a solo world building game by Tom Anna, with the card Elven Blood, which the description said to choose the first peoples are spreading out along migratory routes. Choose a route that they followed and place up to 3 settlements. I chose for the peoples to go west from the lands of the established lands of the people called Suveria, from the river that runs through their territory, cross some plains, around the edge of a mountain range, and then to the coast. And I placed a settlement in the plains, one in the mountains, and one at the coast. And this is what I came up with for those split off peoples. The Hane split off from the migrating peoples in an area of heavy woods and plentiful game. Over time, they developed a permanent settlement where game could be stocked in natural caves, cold plus smoking for preservation, and natural fruits and vegetables grew in abundance in most seasons. Then for the settlement in the mountains, the Jacine became lost in a labyrinthine cave system as they took shelter in a nearby mountainous area when separated from the migrating tribe. They stumbled upon large caverns of edible and addictive fungi and lichens. As time wore on, they developed smaller bodies with long, agile limbs and large eyes to adapt to the dark. Now few can withstand the sight of full daylight. And then for the last settlement, when the group arrived on the coast, the Rakar settled on the coast in a small cove. They began fishing and eventually learned to build boats. When magic overtook the area, because this area falls in that high magic area I established, I believe, in the last session. When magic overtook the area, they found themselves imbued with powerful abilities. They nearly destroyed themselves when these abilities first manifested, and again when the next generation was born. They have adopted a culture of strong control, including heavy mind control on newborns to keep their talents latent until they come of age. But this is dangerous as well. The power can well up and build to a catastrophic level under heavy emotion. So that's what I came with, the migration and the sort of 3 settlements, 3 peoples that developed. So now let's, as Gambit says, pick a card, and we get Eyes in the Darkness. Beneath the surface of the world, a new species arose to claim dominion over the darkness. Create a subterranean species or culture and describe their home. This is another one of the hearts here. Let's see. Create a settlement. Choose one from the book. The settlement is the entrance to a subterranean world or an inland port. Settlement is a military outpost built to protect the underworld from surface dwellers. The settlement is known as a cursed place where demons and monsters emerge to attack the surface world. So this is an interesting development, considering that I developed an underground race as part of the last prompt. Now, looking at the map I've drawn, the Jacine settlement, the mountains of that part of the mountain range are just north of the high magic area. So I think what this prompt can bring me to is that even an offshoot of the Jacine develop, that they have migrated further into the mountains and now they're underground where the high magic area is. And as I had already previously established, this is a place that spawns monsters. What they have done is this offshoot has developed a group, has found places where monsters are essentially spawning. So maybe they're spawning from an area where there is a magic imbued underground ocean or river or lake, and the creatures are being affected by the magic that has infused these waters. And now this group of Jacine, they have themselves been affected by the waters, seeking it as sustenance. And now maybe they have sort of a psionic connection to the monsters that emerge from the darkness, that emerge from the caves and caverns around this area. And so they are their steeds, they are their pets, they are their servitors for the smarter varieties that would be along the range of simians, or even in the water something like dolphins. So they have a, maybe not a symbiotic relationship, maybe not a parasitic relationship, but some sort of a combined symbiosis. Even though I just said it's not a symbiotic relationship, maybe it is symbiotic. Maybe it is mutually. I don't know what the monsters get out of it, but certainly the Jacene, it serves them to have these creatures at their behest, and instead of developing their own latent, really powerful magical abilities like the Ricard did later, settling in the high magic area, they develop their power. Their magic is infused with their ability to control these beasts, and maybe they would have that ability to control other monsters, or have the opportunity to do it if they should encounter them in the wild, if they should ever leave their caverns. So I think that's a good dovetailing of the last couple of cards, what that has wrought. Let's draw another card here. The Ice Age. Without the sun's embrace, the lands grow barren. So this is the second time I've drawn this card, and that represents, according to the book, the Great Thaw. The long winter passed, and the world emerged anew. Redraw the ice cap area to be roughly a quarter of its current size. Randomly choose 5 points in the same area that was covered by ice. Here you may create large lakes formed by the receding glaciers, or reshape any coastline that is there. The lower half of these lands are covered in vast evergreen forests. To the north of this land is a frozen, windswept tundra with no plant life and almost no animals. The peoples that live here exist through hunting and fishing. They are largely isolated from the rest of the world. Create a name for these frozen regions. So that is a map adjustment I will make, but let me draw another card to see if I have something that I can, since I've been using cards to bridge between episodes, see if I get another one. All right, so this is Blood and Sand. In the harsh deserts and badlands emerged a nomadic people who lived alongside the migratory beasts that inhabited these areas, created a nomadic culture or species in the desert. That is something that we have not run across before. Let's see if the book adds anything else. If you have not added any deserts to the map, shuffle this card back in the deck. Okay, I think we have run across this because I think we've shuffled this back in before. So there should be a card somewhere for developing deserts. And yes, there is a desert card. So we're going to shuffle this back in yet another time. But let me go ahead and draw again here. Words in Stone. From the written word come poetry, science, and taxes. That's interesting. 1, describe the writing and languages that emerged in the ancient world. And add the club cards to the deck. So we have spades, we have hearts, and now we have clubs. It also says describe the hierarchies that emerge among settled peoples, remove the clubs. So let's look in the book and get further details on that. Okay, so this is another two-parter, like the Ice Age one was, where we do the first part, we describe writing and languages, and we shuffle the card back in, and then when it comes up the next time, that is when we will remove the clubs. Remove the spades. We've added the club. We're going to add the clubs now. We'll remove the spades the next time this card comes up. So we have 2 cards to reshuffle back in, and I need to start describing languages and writing, and so that is a good place to stop for this session. So I hope you enjoyed it, continuing to enjoy it, and this is very interesting. Thank you for listening. And now, more from my solo AD&D RPG campaign, Tales of the Dragon Slayers. A couple more things before we get into the battle. I didn't ever figure out what men-at-arms that this party has. It's facing the Dragon Slayers. So we're going to roll up a couple. There's 4 of them. Based on their charisma, I'm going to say 2 of them are with the magic user, 1 with the druid, and 1 with the half-orc fighter cleric. So let's see what we come up with, rolling on the chart in the DMG. 5%. That's short bow archer. And 54. That's a horseman. So we're not going to do a horseman in a dungeon here. 77. That's also a horseman. Keep getting horse. Okay, 87. That's a slinger. All right. 36. That's a light footman. That's too high. And a 12, an artillerist. That doesn't fit. 64, that's a horseman. 15, that's a crossbowman. So an archer, a slinger, a crossbowman, a light footman. Okay, that's 4. So we'll say that a slinger, crossbow, short bow. And we'll assume that they have that the ones with the missile weapons have a short sword. Well, let's look at the descriptions here. Short bow. They have short swords, hand axes, and similar weapons. Fighting as light infantry. Okay. Crossbow. Crossbowmen will bear handheld weapons and fight as light foot. Light footmen. They don't fight in close formation. And where is the slinger? Slingers. They are always light infantry. They have lesser handheld weapons such as hand axes, clubs, short swords. So short swords, we'll say short swords all around for the missile weapon troops, and then for the light footmen, we'll give them a footman's mace. I think that would fit in with the genre here. And we'll say that the slinger is with the half orc. It's another half orc. It's a half orc slinger, and the light footman and say the crossbow are with the magic user, so they'll be kind of protecting them. Now let's give the 2 bowmen for the magic user because it makes sense. He'll have people behind him, and then they can defend him and the mace will make more sense with the fighter. All right, so that was pretty quick. And the last thing I was going to do is in the henchman section of the DMG, there's some personality charts. I'm not going to roll on all these things, but one of them I do want to roll on is the bravery chart. I'm sorry, that's the NPCs chart. NPC section is where that chart is, the bravery chart. So we're going to roll and see, because I'll use that information to give them kind of a marching order. Okay, so for the fighter cleric, it's a D8 roll. 1, 2, and 3 is normal. 4 is foolhardy. 5 is brave. 6 is fearless. 7 is cowardly. 8 is craven. So rolls a 4, so foolhardy. So a foolhardy for the cleric, fighter cleric, which makes a little sense, I guess, for a half orc. Okay, it's for the magic user, normal. For the druid is craven. So probably looking for a chance to run. The neutral fighter, normal. The lawful evil fighter, cowardly. So we got 2 cowards in the group. All right, so 2 cowardly, a craven, and a foolhardy. So I'm going to say that the foolhardy will make the fighter cleric likely to be on the front line. And so the druid is, well, you know what? I'm going to flip a couple of things here. I'm going to say the slinger is with the druid because that would make sense because druids use slings. And so the druid and the slinger kind of stay back. And the one with the mace will be the half orc. It'll be with the fire cleric because it should have been the druid. So the front line will be the fighter cleric and the fighter cleric's hireling, the light footman. And since he's light footman, I'm probably going to put him in leather, or maybe the next step up from leather in armor. Yeah, some studded leather I think would be good. And then the two fighters, well, one of them has scale +4, and the other one will probably be in plate mail, and the fighter cleric will be in plate mail, and they'll all have shields. And I give a light shield to the footman, the one with the footman's mace, to go with the studded leather. And the missile troops will be in leather. Of course, the mage just has their robes, but does have the dexterity bonus. And the druid will be in. Well, the druid will also be in leather, but can have a wooden shield. And then the hit points. The hirelings have 4 to 7 hit points. So that's going to be a D4 plus 3 for each of them. So we've got 5 for the one with the mace. The slinger will be 7. The crossbowman will be 5. And the short bowman will be 6. So we're going to say their marching order, as we said. The front line is the half-orc fire cleric, their mace-wielding footman, and the neutral fighter with the magical scale mail. And then the second level will be the lawful evil fighter, the magic user in the middle there, and one of the, we'll say, the short bowman. And then at the back you'll have your crossbowman, your slinger, and your druid. So that'll be our marching order, because they're meeting in this 10-foot wide corridor. So in the last one more thing, the druid actually does qualify for a couple of bonus first level spells due to wisdom. So I added in fairy fire and detect poison. So now to set the stage, the dragon slayers were going down a long corridor when they rolled this random encounter. It's right near the end of the corridor where there is a small chamber. So since the other party was surprised, I believe they had just come out of the chamber and kind of formed up, and then suddenly this party is on top of them. Sir Gus tries to convince them to leave because this is the party's keep, and instead the party, especially the foolhardy half-orc fighter clerics, start brandishing their weapons, and Sir Gus sees there's a problem here and yells charge to take advantage of the second segment of surprise. So now Bernie, seeing the magic user kind of toward the back and knowing what kind of damage Katya can do, is going to use his magic missile spell on the magic user. Gus and Prier and Quinn will charge sort of as the front rank, with Harl and Michael with the spears bringing up the rear rank. The other party is lined up with the half-orc, the half-orc's light-foot hireling, and the neutral fighter on the front rank, with the lawful evil fighter in the back rank. The lawful evil fighter does have a sword +1, but because he's on the back rank, he's using a spear. And then a little further back is the Craven Druid with his slinger hireling, and then the magic user with their 2 bow hirelings, a crossbowman and a short bowman. So I've taken the opportunity to kind of write out the 2 hit numbers for the different parties towards each other to take into account weapon versus armor adjustments. The hirelings, as well as the magic user. Well, the magic user doesn't have any chance to hit any of them in a frontal assault. The hirelings don't have any chance to hit Gus, Bernie, or Quinn in a frontal assault. The lawful evil fighter also cannot hit Gus in a frontal assault with either of his types of weapons. To add to this factor, because Gus is a cavalier, there is a protection from fear and protection from evil aura around him that's going to affect the party. So the evil fighter and the magic user, if it comes to blows, would face a -2 to attack as well. So here we go. The second surprise round as the party attacks. The Gus fires off his magic missile at the magic user. That's an automatic hit, 2 to 5 points of damage, and does 3 points of damage to the magic user, taking him down to 4. Gus, because he called the charge, he gets a little more of a head start on the others. Because he's a Cavalier, he picks what he sees as the most powerful opponent, which would be the half-orc fighter cleric. He's going to get +2, including his in addition to his other bonuses on this attack, since he is charging. He rolls a 15, which with all his bonuses give him a 21. He needed a 20 to hit the half-orc, and he is going to be doing 1d8 plus 7 points of damage from all his bonuses. And he does a total of 9 points to that half-orc cleric, taking him down to 13. Now, Prier starts off on the second rank, but since Bernie stops to cast the spell, he moves around him, so Quinn's going to get the next fight in, and the question is, which one will Quinn go towards? I'm just going to do 50-50. I'm going to roll a d8, 1 to 4. He targets the hireling on the front row, and on a 5 to 8, he targets the fighter. And on a 6, he targets the fighter. So now he's also going to get a charge bonus to this. He has a regular bonus of +3, so it's going to be a +5 on this attack. He needs an 18 to hit. He rolls a 14, and so that's enough to get a strike in on that fighter. He's using the portion of his weapon that is a hammer, and that's going to do 2 to 5 points of damage, plus his +3 damage bonus. So he rolls a 2, +1, 3, +3, 6. So 6 points of damage on that fighter, knocking him down to 8. This leaves Prier facing off against the hireling, light footman. Prier needs a 14 to hit. He has a regular +2 plus +2 for charge, so +4. He rolls an 8 and comes up just short, just wangs off that little shield of his. So now here comes Michael in with a spear. He'll be backing up his buddy Prier, so he will also attack that hireling, and he also needs a 14 to hit. He's at a +4 on that magic spear, plus his +2 for charging, but he rolls a 3, so he comes up short. And then finally, Harl will back up his buddy, comrade in arms from long ago, for a long time now, Quinn. He also has a +4 with his spear. He is attacking that fighter, which would be, he needs a 19 to hit that fighter. So 10 plus 4 plus 2 is 16. He comes up short as well, just banging off the armor. So now we go to initiative. The Dragon Slayers, they roll a 6. The other party rolls a 4. So the Dragon Slayers get another round. Bernie will just have to maneuver in. He doesn't have any reach weapons, so he'll just have to wait for someone to fall or some kind of opening to happen that he can squeeze through. So Sir Gus versus the half-orc needs a 20 to hit, +4 on the roll. He rolls a 3. It hammers off the shield. Prier attacks the footman again. He rolls a 2. He just can't even seem to get a good lick in. Quinn attacks the fighter. He rolls a 16. With his +3, that's going to be just enough to hit. So he's going to roll his 2 to 5 points of damage again. Rolls a 2, gets a 3. +3 is 6. So now the fighter is down to just 2 points. Harl tries to finish him off from behind with a spear, but only manages to roll a 3. And then Michael, backing up Prier, he rolls a 10. That gives him a total of 14, and that is just enough to hit the footman. And he is going to do 1d6 plus 4 points of damage. He does a total of 7. And the footman only had 5, so he goes down. Now it's the other party's turn. The druid is going to cast heat metal. And it matters who he casts this on because Gus has a ring of fire resistance. So if it's on him, it won't do anything to him. But it could seriously hurt someone else. All these guys are well armored. There's 6 party members. So we're going to go 1d6. We're going to go Gus, Sven, Harl, Quinn, Pryor, Michael. And it's a 1. So it's Gus. So heat metal is cast, but it's not going to have any effect. The druid will probably be a little confused later. The magic user, having already been hit with a magic missile, he's going to go ahead and cast shield on himself for this turn. And we're going to say that the magic user, or having already seen the hireling fall, orders his 2 bowmen to fire into melee. Because let's face it, that's what evil people do. So first, let's see what kind of roll they get. One gets an 11, and the other gets a 10. Those attack rolls are not going to harm anyone, so they just ping off somebody's armor into in the middle of the melee. The slinger, being neutral because he's working with the druid, I won't say he's also neutral, is going to try to target where the hireling fell down, even though at the beginning of the round he couldn't necessarily have known that. But we're just going to say he reacts quickly. And so we're going to give him a shot at Prier, and he can hit him on a 20. But he rolls an 18. So now we get to the frontline guys. First, the half-orc versus Sir Gus. The half-orc needs a 20 to hit Sir Gus, has a +1 to hit. Rolls a 10. The neutral fighter facing off against Quinn, needs a 20 to hit Quinn, has no bonuses. Rolls a 2, which, if you know anything about a d20, a 2 is right beside a 20. So now the lawful evil fighter, the one that had the spear and was going to kind of linger in the back, now has to step up and attack Prier. Rolls a 15, but needed a 20 to hit. Even with this +2 to strength, that's not good enough. So on to the next round. The party rolls a 1. The other party, the evil neutral party, rolls a 6. So they get another round. The half-orc against Sir Gus rolls a 6 and misses. The lawful evil fighter versus Prier rolls a 20, gets a hit. So it's going to roll 1d6 +2 damage, 6 damage. Prier only has 3 hit points, so Prier goes down. He is at -3. And now the neutral fighter versus Quinn rolls a 6 and misses. Another round of bow fire. This time, the short bowman will actually get 2 shots in, rolling a 2 and a 5. The slinger rolls a 10. The crossbowman rolls a 19. That 19 could be enough to hurt someone, but only if it's one of his own guys. So we're going to roll a d6. If it's 1, 2, or 3, it hit one of the party members. If it's 4, 5, or 6, it's going to hit one of the zone members. And a 4. So 4 on the die will be the half-orc, and that will actually bounce off the half-orc. Nope, I'm sorry. I'm not paying attention. Rolling from behind, and with the half-orcs, even with the half-orcs plate mail, that is good enough to hit. So that's going to do 4 points of damage. Okay. So the half-orc is not happy about that. The druid, seeing the trouble and having seen that his guys are kind of on the back end of this now goes and casts Fairy Fire. So he's going to target one of the frontline troops with that. And with a 3, that will give us from Quinn. So any attacks against Quinn will be at +2. And I just realized that Prior would not have been hit by that roll of 18 because the +2 would have been counteracted by the -2 from the lawful evil fighter being restrained by protection from evil. So Prior is still actually up. So that leaves us with the magic user. The magic user casts Read Magic, knowing that he's probably going to need to use one of the spells on this scroll. And that takes us to the next round. So, the Dragon Slayers, a 4. The other party, a 5. So they go first again. So the half-orc, having already lost a lot of hit points, casts Cure Light Wounds on himself and regains 6 hit points, bringing him back up to 15. The evil fighter attacking Prior rolls an 11, not good enough. The neutral fighter attacking Quinn rolls a 9, also not good enough. Another round of bow shots and slingshots. The sling misses everything. The bow shots either miss or clang off of armor. The druid moves up in case he's needed to move so he can move up within melee range if he needs to, because he's run out of spells that are useful in this situation. The magic user now has a choice to make. He has 2 spells on his scroll that he believes will be useful in this situation: Fear and Confusion. They're both 4th level spells. They both have the same chance of failure. But he may not realize that Gus has the aura that negates fear. So if he casts that spell, it's nothing. But if he casts Confusion successfully, that could really change the way this fight is going. So we're going to go 50-50. We haven't rolled a d10 yet, so we're going to roll a d10. 1 through 5, Fear. 6 through 10, Confusion. And with a 4, it's Fear. So he casts his Fear spell to no effect. So now the party engages. Sir Gus versus the half-orc. He rolls a 13. Not good enough. Prior rolls a 13. Even with the bonuses, that's not good enough. He needs a 20 to hit. Quinn rolls a 1 and misses. Michael rolls a 3 and misses. Harl rolls an 18. +4 gives him a 22. That's going to be a hit. And that's 6 points of damage, +4 is 10. And the neutral fighter goes down. So now the druid's going to have to step up next turn. So now we go to initiative again. The Dragon Slayers roll a 4. The other party rolls a 2. So the Dragon Slayers get another round. So Prior moves up and attacks the druid. He rolls a 12 with his bonuses. That gives him a 14. He only needs a 13 to hit the druid. So he's going to roll 1d8 plus 2 points. Oh, that's a d10. That's not a d8. Let's try that again. That's going to be a 6 plus 2 is 8 points of damage. The druid is down to 3 points. Michael comes in behind Harl with his spear. Behind Prior with his spear. He rolls a 12 plus 4 is 16. That's enough to hit the druid, and with his damage, that's enough to take the druid out. So now the druid is down. With the opening, Bernie is able, with his longsword at the ready, to slide in and flank on the half-orc. So he and Gus will both be attacking the half-orc. Gus rolls an 8 plus 4, not good enough. Bernie rolls a 15 plus 6. That is good enough. 1d8 plus 6 points of damage. He rolls a 6. That's going to be 12 points of damage. And it's a good thing the half-orc cast that spell on himself because he's down to 3 hit points now. And I just realized that I messed up who moved where because the neutral fighter was the one that went down. So it was Quinn and Harl that got loose, not Pryor and Michael. But the bonuses to their weapons are the same or better, so it still would have been a similar result with the possible exception of damage. Well, the damage would have been the same with Harl because it's the same weapon. And so but with the bonuses and the fact that with Quinn it's a 2d5, that still would have been enough to take the druid out. So now we have Pryor and Michael against the evil fighter. So Pryor with a 14 plus 2 is 16. That's not enough. He needs a 20. Michael also needs a 20 and does not get it. So they're still banging away there. So now we come to the other party's turn. At this point, I'm going to roll morale since it's their turn. That's the way I've been handling things in this campaign. When it's your turn in initiative, if you need to roll morale, you will. Their base morale, factoring all the different D&D factors into it, I can go into it another time if you want. They started off with both with 122 morale. I know that sounds like a lot, but there's some bonuses. But because of the losses, that drops down to 107, and the bonus on the dice is going to be a plus 30 because they've had 3 that have fallen. So if this is a 77 or more on the die roll, there's going to be a negative reaction morale-wise. And they rolled 100. So 100 plus the 30 from the downed members of their party is 130 versus a morale of 107 is a 23 difference. 23 on the morale failure table is disengage and retreat. So now the way I've been interpreting this, there's 4 results on the morale failure chart. Fallback fighting, disengage, retreat, flee and panic, and surrender. Surrender is self-descriptive. Flee and panic, it specifically states that you basically get a free attack on those who turn and run, because that's what they're doing. They're turning and running when they flee and panic. Now, the way I've interpreted fallback fighting is that, according to the Dungeon Master's Manual, you can move up to 1 inch of movement and engage in combat on the same round. So what I'm saying is that is the reverse process. You can take a swing and then move back 1 inch if you fall back fighting. But what they did, disengage, retreat, the way I've been interpreting that is you're using half your movement to evade any possible attacks and using the remainder of your movement to pull all the way back if you're engaged. Now, the hirelings and the magic user are just going to flee. They may show up again somewhere in the catacombs, in the dungeon, but for now, they're just breaking and running. The half-orc and the evil fighter will be disengaging and retreating the way I said. So they'll move back because they're both in heavy armor. They're going to be moving back 3 inches, essentially 30 feet, basically back into the room they came from. So it's going to come down to initiative because this room does have another exit. So actually multiple exits, but we'll get to that in a moment, I'm sure. So I'm going to roll initiative. If the party wins, they can close on those 2 fighters and re-engage. If not, that group is going to be able to get away. So the Dragon Slayers roll a 1. The other party rolls a 2. Not great, but it's enough for them to get away and live to fight another day. And that's the end of that battle. The opening theme of this podcast was Strength of the Titans, and the closing music is Late Night Radio, both from Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. If you have any thoughts or feedback, you can get in touch with me by leaving me a voicemail on my Google Voice number, 864-209-1441. That's 864-209-1441. or through SpeakPipe at www.speakpipe.com/Phantom Thoughts. That's www.speakpipe.com/Phantom Thoughts. Or you can send me a message or an audio file on Discord, where I can be found the Pink Phantom, or through email, phantomthoughtspodcast@gmail.com. That's phantomthoughtspodcast@gmail.com. I don't have to play or read your feedback on the podcast if that is not your preference. Just let me know.